What is up guys, welcome back to another video. We usually talk a lot about free-to-play games on this channel, but once in a while we do some benchmarks as well. Today I have a very interesting idea to put the most demanding game on 2022 against my poor little GTX 960. I don't think it's gonna survive, but let's see how it performs. Today we're gonna test out a game called Plague Tale Requiem. I know some of you guys might heard about this game. It's an extremely popular game and extremely demanding at the same time. This game is probably one of the first of its kind to be truly a next-gen title, which means it's not gonna support all PlayStations and Xbox, and it's targeting that high-quality PlayStation 5 and Xbox as well as PC experience. So you basically have an idea how demanding this game is. Let's see how it performs against my poor old GTX 960. Would it be able to run? Yeah, let's see how it goes. Alright, so as the minimum requirements, this game need to have an i5-3670K, which was extremely high quality CPU back in the day. And also you need to have a 16 gigs of RAM as the minimum requirements, which is insane by the way. And also you need to have a 4 gigs version of a GTX 970 or even a RX 590. And also as always, my testing specs are the same. I do have a i5-3570 which also has a 4 cores and 4 threads alongside a DDR3 8 gigs of RAM and a GTX 960 2GB version. And in our last video we check out the brand new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on the GTX 960, so if you haven't watched that video, please go ahead and do that as well. Alright, first of all, I'm gonna test this thing out on 1920 by 1080p native resolution and all the graphic settings set to the lowest as well as everything disabled. So basically these are the lowest settings, and as you guys can see we are barely getting around 20 FPS, which is as expected to be honest, because this is a high quality, high demanding game. The graphic card usage is at around the peak 99% and the GPU temperature is also around 75 Celsius, which is kind of a high for a GTX 960. Graphic card is actually doing everything in its power to push more FPS, but unfortunately it won't go beyond 20 FPS, which is kind of unfortunate. But at the same time, as you guys can see, the CPU is just around 40%. This is basically because we have an extremely low amount of FPS. But the surprise to me actually the RAM usage. I was expecting a lot more RAM usage because as in the minimum requirements they mentioned this game need to have a 16 gigs of minimum RAM. But as you guys can see, it's barely used around 6.5 gigs, which means basically we can run this game on 8 gigs of RAM without any issues, especially on those low settings on 1080p. Alright guys, because we only have 2 gigs of VRAM in our graphics card, I honestly not going to push this any further to test out the medium, and the higher setting is probably gonna crash for sure. But instead of, I will try to drop the resolution and the resolution scale and try to get at least a 30 FPS experience, which is gonna be enough because this is a single player game. And the best way to do that is to use an upscaling technology like Nvidia DLSS or AMD FSR. Unfortunately this game only comes with Nvidia DLSS as far as I know, but in the same time our GTX 960 is not going to support DLSS. So basically we don't have any upscaling method, which is very unfortunate. But I'll be keeping the same 1080p resolution and drop my resolution scale to 80%, so let's see how it performs. Alright, as you guys can see, now I'm running this game on 1080p 80% resolution scale and I'm getting close to 30 FPS, not necessarily a 30 FPS experience, but I get around 25 to 27 FPS, which is actually playable but definitely not enough in my opinion. So in order to get a much more smoother experience in this game, we have to drop the resolution to 720p. As you guys can see, I'm running this game right now on 1280 by 720p and 100% resolution scale, and I'm getting easily around 35 to 40 FPS, which is extremely good in my opinion. And at the same time I'm recording the gameplay, which is very demanding for a graphics card like this. So you can basically get away with a graphics card with 2 gigs of VRAM if you try to play this game on 720p low settings. So it's a pretty playable experience, especially for a single player game, and I can safely say the GTX 960 it passed this test against the most demanding game in 2022. So I think to this date this graphic card still rocks in my opinion. Anyway guys, that's pretty much wrap up the video. If this video helpful, make sure to drop a like, and also as some of you guys mentioned in the comment section for me to test out the brand new Gotham Knight game as well as the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection, which I will do in the upcoming weeks, so stay tuned for that as well guys. I'll catch you guys soon in my next video. Stay safe.